Well, in this direct deposit, fast pass, auto pay age, it's easy to take for granted something as seemingly simple as a checking account. While citing an actual check may be nearly as rare as that blood moon we saw last night, the checking account is a gateway to financial independence, especially in neighborhoods where check cashing and payday loan outlets outpace bank branches. But if you're trying to make sense of the unbanked dollars in New York City, you have a strong ally in New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer, whose office just issued a report titled "Take It to the Bank." A key contributor to that report is Doug Ostrov, the Director of Financial Counseling for the New York Legal Assistance Group. Welcome to BK Live, Doug.
Thank you.
And once again, we're happy to welcome back New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. Welcome back to BK Live, sir.
It's great to be back in the BRIC house.
Well, we're very happy to have both of you. So how much money are we talking here that's floating around New York under beds and soup cans and in pockets?
Well, you know, the challenge is for 825,000 people who don't have a bank account, but may be working in many in low-paying jobs. At the end of the week, when they live paycheck to paycheck, they go to a check cash outlet. They end up paying the average, I think, Doug, $500 a year in these fees that shouldn't be paid. People don't know that they can actually go to 60 banks in New York City that have checking accounts available for just $25. There are banks that have second chance accounts, so if you didn't do it well the first time, you get to do it the second time. There are a whole host of options people have for banking that they don't know. So we started this initiative, Take It to the Bank, where we did an analysis of some 74 banks, looked at the services they provided, and now we're trying to publicize that with Doug and others because it's critical for financial literacy, for establishing a credit history, and just bringing 13% of New Yorkers into the banking world.
Now, you talked about the number of banks that you guys put under the microscope to find out about the fees and the benefits, and I was sort of astounded by the number. There were hundreds of benefits that were offered by banks that you just don't get at those places that are giving you quick cash.
Well, because you tend to look at the big players, right? But the bank on your corner may be the one that fits you, but maybe a bank 3 blocks away is able to shape the account that you need. So it really is all about comparative shopping, both in terms of services, also cost, because at the end of the day, the check cashers win when you don't know your banking options. And look, part of this fast-paced world is about creating a financial history, establishing credit history. Think about the young entrepreneurs in this city who have great big ideas, so they end up wanting to open up a small entrepreneurial business, and then it's hard to go to a bank when you don't have credit history, or maybe you got off on the wrong track. And we want people to have an opportunity to have the strongest financial history they possibly can have, and you don't have to be a big wage earner to have a good credit history.
Well, speaking of the smaller wage owners, Doug, banks haven't gotten the best rap in the last few years. Every story starts with how Wall Street bankers are ... So how do you convince people walking through your door that a bank might be a viable alternative?
I think if anyone listens to this report and reads this report, they'll realize that for the first time in a long time, you'll have transparency. And I think, among other things, that's what we look for most at a potential product or tool. I think one of the reasons why the check cashing outlets are so popular is you can walk in and you can maybe pay a higher fee, but you can see what that fee is, plain and simple, right on the wall. And I think, you know, finally that we have a comprehensive resource and tool here that we're thrilled to be a part of, because we see this every day with our unbanked population. We're trying to crunch numbers and save people thousands and thousands of dollars every single year through expense reduction and prioritizing decisions and debts. But why wouldn't they take the time, you know, to actually look at their banking services, their products, the fees, or their lack of interest, and make the right decision in that regard too? And I think with this tool, you can do that. So it's a long time coming. We're thrilled to be a part of it.
I mean, you just did a segment on the Pope having a Muni ID, right? And that was very exciting. I know he was very excited to have his Muni ID. But believe it or not, there are some banks we check that don't accept that municipal ID card. And that's
28% in the report. 28% of banks currently accept New York City's municipal ID to get you started.
Exactly. So if you don't accept it, for many people, that's your only form of ID. Why would you go to that bank? So that is part of our user guide.
I would also point out that we're always talking about the benefits of banking, and for some it's a little bit of pie in the sky, and there's a understandable fear out there, especially given the plight of many since the recession.
Right.
People are literally storing money under their mattress, the old cliche, but it happens, and other places at home, and that's not safe, and it's not protected, it's not insured, and there are a tremendous amount of benefits and rewards, and the opportunity to build your profile, your credit profile eventually as well. And so I think having this is just really a segue into the formal banking sector that many people are scared, understandably so, to be a part of. And so we now have something that backs up what we constantly say, with a tool that we're able to use.
So Comptroller Stringer, what communities are really adversely affected by this? You guys dug down and found some hard and fast numbers on where it really matters.
Where you would think in communities that have real poverty, some real economic challenges, people who may be new to New York City, new immigrants who struggle with the financial services industry. And part of what I think has to come out of Take It to the Bank, because I think this is step one, and we're going to work together on this. We have got to the city of New York has really got to create financial literacy tools for young people at the earliest age. In this competitive environment that we live in, whether it's trying to find an apartment where credit history and those things matter, whether it's on the job. I mean, credit history is becoming like the new normal, right? You have to have it. And so we want to make sure that everybody, regardless of race or status, gets an opportunity to be part of the financial world. One example I think is very important is that when you open up a small business, you can't just go to Chase Bank and say, hey, give me a loan, I've got a great idea. A lot of it is your friends and family money.
Yeah.
So people come to this country and save up and work these 22 hours a day, so they take that money and then they open up a business. But now they're successful because you're a New Yorker. And now you want to open up multiple businesses. But if you don't have a bank history, you're not going to get the loan you need to expand your business.
So one of the things about the Take It to the Bank initiative that's really been great and pioneering is the real user-friendly components that you have. Like, we love it when you come by and you have reports, and I'm a nerd, I totally get into the thing. But there's a real consumer side application. We have a screenshot of the website to show folks that these are really tools that you can use. It's not sort of a wonky thing. You can go on and find real things to help you make the leap.
Well, that's why we're on the show today, because I know you're a nerd, and I know you would read this. He reads this cover. It's his first time on the show, but you love these reports.
I do.
But for everybody else who won't read the report, go online, click a couple of clicks. You can view the rankings, so we have banks and all the information.
You made it very easy.
It has to be, because we want people to use this as a resource that we're going to update over time. Look, our partnership means that more people are going to be able to look at this and say, hey, this matters, right? I think that's...
Yeah, I would echo that. I think, anytime you have a ranking, people are going to look at that. I'm not sure the banks are going to love the ranking.
Easy.
But, you know what? It puts them on the spot, and it forces them to adjust and to offer more favorable terms, hopefully, to consumers and to the unbanked. And frankly, it's so easy and customizable. We're using it every single day already. Our large financial counseling team, looks at ATM fees, looks at location, looks at minimum balance requirements, and it's customizable and sortable, and you could do it without a financial counselor, for that matter.
Right.
So, I strongly endorse it, obviously.
And I want to say to the banks, look, you can't hide the fees, because we're exposing what your bank model is, and does your bank work for middle-income New Yorkers? And there are so many banks. Like, I remember when I was working with a bank and I disclosed that I wasn't a customer with the bank, and they said, well, why? You live 3 blocks away from us. Why don't you open an account? And I said, well, that's too far to walk, right? So we have a proliferation of banks, and we can argue why that's happening. But the banks also are in competition, right? So there's 820.
Use that to your advantage.
Well, banks, wake up. There's 825,000 people that are unbanked. And the way you go get those customers is by offering the services they need, not the fees that you want. And I think there's a balance.
Well, this partnership with NILAG and the Comptroller's Office on this makes so much sense. So I'm going to ask you guys, are you looking for more people of goodwill? I could imagine the DOE doing financial literacy for kids. There's so many community-based organizations who are really doing God's work, working with the poor here. So who are you looking to add to your coalition of the willing?
I mean, we're out in the community every day trying to make partners, trying to expand our partnership and our network, and we were thrilled to be part of this advisory network with all of our colleagues in the field. It's actually a relatively small field and growing, and really important, and it's all about financial literacy for students, for the unbanked, for immigrants, and we pretty much add a partner every single day, and we're thrilled to be involved with the comptroller's team, and we look forward to, I think, this is an opportunity more than anything. I think this is the very beginning, phase one, if you will, because we already met again a few times, and we're thinking about how we can expand it potentially into credit. I know we launched today in Spanish. I don't want to steal anyone's thunder.
Please go ahead.
But
you can make the announcement.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exciting for us. I mean, because we serve so many in the Latino community, and I think there's an opportunity to go beyond just basic checking products, as well as my point, into credit, as the comptroller pointed out.
So we had that screenshot of the website. There's going to be more.
There's more coming in different languages, but I think you raised an important issue about the city economy in general. We live in this high-tech world. We talk a lot about how kids should learn how to code and what's the high-tech economy going to look like for all of our children. We see entrepreneurs setting up shop in the city. We want our kids to grab hold of that. Right. But it will take a whole understanding about financial literacy and credit and how you save for the future and how you make sure that you're ready. And for people struggling in this town, a bank account without fees and second chance accounts, that just gets you a little farther along. Yeah. And I think the city should look at this report, take the knowledge and the data that we've provided here, and let the DOE start thinking about how to incorporate this work in the classroom, because it's never too early to start, whether it's young kids or moms.
It's true. So I'm thinking of a client walking in the door for the first time. They've already gotten over that inertia to say, maybe I can get this under control. But how do we broaden that message to say the dollars and cents of the thing? You're paying $500 worth of fees over the year for this when you can pay $25 and sort of be done for the year if you keep your account in a certain range at a certain bank.
Well, you sound like a financial counselor already. I mean, that's really the message. It's simple. It's about simple empowerment with information. And like I said before, it's really just having access to a tool that gives you that information quickly, so you can make a decision. Our whole program is about financial empowerment to make tough choices in the short term crisis and the long-term kind of planning. And so, I think when they come through that door, most people may be in crisis. We kind of get through that crisis first. And then once the dust settles a little bit, you start looking at your banking options. You look at your credit profile. Do you need to establish credit, or more likely improve credit, since a major liability has been incurred, or a medical debt in many cases, or in many cases overdraft fees. And so there's lots of things that could hurt your credit, and I think that's something that is a natural kind of extension of this. And so when they come through that door, try to calm them down, and we focus on really what matters, and certainly it's about saving, how it affects your wallet, really. It's the bottom line to your wallet, but then it's about behavior change and making the right choices. And we want to use every single tool that we can, and now, we have one.
Well, Comptroller, you are the Comptroller of the city, and you are a voice for some of the folks who are unbanked. And looking at the numbers, you rank the banks, and all of them aren't doing great jobs, especially when we look at that 28% figure. So I'm giving you the last minute to sort of give the banks a talking to advocate for those folks who do need these services and are just getting the word to help the banks get on it.
What I would say to the banks, one, what you provide is what the public's going to know, and take it to the bank is a snapshot of what services you provide. And I would argue that there's 825,000 people out there that we're going to do everything we can to bank them, but you should continue to try to bring down fees, create tools that customers actually need in the city. And remember, like any other business, if a bank was with you when you started, right, when you had a low fee, second chance banking, New Yorkers start at the bottom and go to the top.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to stay with the bank that brought you to the dance than switch. And that's just true with any business. And so we want to say to the banks, there's a real role for you to play. You know, I'm going to shout out Capital One because they did very well in our survey. I'm going to say to Chase, we need you to do much better. And so it's not just, you know, the people at the top that you need to bank, but there's a whole group of people out there that will find their way in the city. That's what people always do.
Yeah.
So I would say to them, read the report. If you're not ranked well, I want to see you do it better because I'm coming back, and I'm coming back every year. And we're going to partner with great groups that actually work with people.
Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you for the work and the new website as well.
You love that one?
We'll check you out.
Okay.
Go to the comptroller's website and just /, take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank.
It's all right there. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.